Morning came dressed in lilies and lemon polish. The Harrington estate glittered like a diamond that forgot how to be humble. Chandeliers hummed. Chairs breathed in white linen. Footsteps echoed down marble halls like small drums before a parade. Evelyn wiped a last scuff from the floor and pressed her hand to her belly. 7 months. The baby turned as if listening. Her blue maid's dress felt tighter today. The apron's knot dug into her back. She breathed slow. She needed the shift. She needed the clinic discount tied to this job. She needed the noise of work to outrun the fear that kept walking behind her. Emma slid in beside her with a tray of crystal. "You okay?" Her whisper tried to be a hug. "I'm good." Evelyn smiled. Small. Brave. How many glasses want to be spotless today? All of them. Emma's eyes flicked toward the ballroom doors. Sophia is on one of her moods. Click, click, click. High heels announced the bride before she appeared. Sophia Vale glided through the doorway like a swan that found the camera and never looked away again. Lace, pearls, a veil so long it needed its own map. 2 bridesmaids floated behind her, carrying the train as if it were fragile light. "Where is the band?" Sophia asked the air. It flinched. John Mercer, head of security, tapped his earpiece and materialized with a calm face and a tablet. "Traffic on the bridge, Ms. Vale. 10 minutes out." Unacceptable. Sophia's gaze roamed until it landed on Evelyn. She smiled, thin and pretty as a blade. "You." Evelyn straightened. "Ma'am." "You sing," Sophia said, like a verdict. Emma stepped forward. "She's staff today. And she's pregnant." Sophia's eyes warmed with performance. Perfect. A tender, humble moment. Authenticity. Real tears. The followers will do cartwheels. She turned, already picturing the caption. "A mother's voice on my walk to forever." "I used to sing at church," Evelyn said. "But I'm not prepared." Sophia floated closer, perfume cool as winter. "You'll sing a cappella. Soft. Pure. Make this room ache." Her gaze slid toward the entrance where Michael Harrington, the groom, stood in a tux the color of midnight. His tie was a little crooked. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Isn't that right, darling?" Michael opened his mouth. Closed it. "Sophia, maybe we wait for the band." She didn't look at him. "We don't wait. We make magic." "I'm not sure it's safe to stand that long," Evelyn said. Her palm cupped her belly. The baby pressed as if to say, "I'm here." Sophia's voice turned soft and cold. "Listen carefully. Your position is temporary. Your clinic discount runs through our family foundation. You want that help to continue? You will sing. You will smile. You will make my entrance unforgettable. Do you understand?" Emma's fingers found Evelyn's wrist. Warm grip. "You don't have to." "I do." The words left before Evelyn could build a fence to keep them in. "I'll sing." Have you ever said yes because there was no clean way to say no? Because the choice was survival dressed like surrender? John's eyes softened. Michael stared at the floor. The room swallowed the exchange like it was taught to eat secrets with silver forks. Evelyn walked to the service corridor for water. The pantry mirror showed a pale woman with steady eyes. She thought of the scholarship she gave up when Mom's heart failed. She thought of the folded flag from Aaron's funeral, heavy on her nightstand. She thought of tiny socks waiting in a drawer like prayers. Back in the ballroom, chairs scraped into neat expectation. The planner practiced smiles. Noon crept closer on quiet feet. Someone important was late. Robert Harrington, Michael's father, a quiet millionaire whose name built hospitals and kept lights on in clinics, hadn't arrived. People said he could shift a room with a single sentence. Evelyn returned to the aisle with a throat that felt like paper. Emma tucked a small pearl pin behind her ear. "For luck," she whispered. "For strength." "Places," the planner sang. Sophia floated to the doorway, a storm disguised as silk. Michael waited at the altar, hands folded like a man rehearsing stillness. Evelyn stepped to the lonely microphone the band had left behind. The stand was an inch too tall. The chandeliers held their breath. So did she. The first note felt like a cliff. She stepped into it. And outside, tires whispered over gravel as a black car finally rolled to a stop. The doors opened. Light poured in like a blessing that wasn't sure it had been invited. Guests rose, a wave of silk and perfume. Phones lifted, small moons orbiting the bride. Evelyn faced the mic. The taste of metal touched her tongue. She inhaled. She thought of cracked church tiles under small shoes. She thought of lullabies in a dark apartment while sirens wrote thin lines across the night. Be brave, little one. Hear me. Hold on. Her first note fell soft and true. It wasn't loud. It wasn't fancy. It was honest. The kind of honest that walks straight into a heart without knocking. The room changed temperature. People remembered their mother's hands. A florist in the back clasped hers together. A groomsman lowered his phone. Sophia turned half a step down the aisle and smiled for the cameras, owning a feeling she did not make. She glowed for her followers. The veil hissed against the marble like a quiet wave. Michael heard the voice and looked up quick, like a man finally noticing the sound he needed and could not buy. His shoulders dropped. His jaw unhooked from duty. His eyes found the singer and stayed. Outside, a black car door clicked. Robert Harrington stepped out, late because he'd stopped by the clinic he funded to fix a squeaky chair in the waiting room. He took one breath. Another. The voice reached him before the music did. He stilled. What was it? Not the pitch. The giving. The way it offered something without asking anything back. He walked in. Everyone else watched the bride. He watched the singer. He saw the hand on her belly. He saw the way her knees tightened between lines. He saw a worker asked to become decoration. Have you ever heard a stranger's voice unlock a memory you didn't know you'd locked? Would you keep walking, or turn toward the door that clicked open inside you? Evelyn shaped the last phrase with a small lift of her chin. The baby rolled. She settled her feet. The silence that followed felt like snow falling in a city at 3 a.m. Sophia reached the altar. She pressed her fingers into Michael's palm. Perfect, she whispered for the cameras. Evelyn finished on a note that kept ringing in a way no chandelier could copy. Robert stepped down the aisle. Not fast. Not slow. Sure. John moved 2 paces, then stopped, reading the air. A path opened because some people have a gravity that rearranges space. Robert stopped beside the mic and took off his jacket. He set it on a chair. He lifted a glass of water from a tray and placed it on the stand with a care that said this wasn't a show. It was a person. Stop the music, he said softly, though nothing played. The words carried anyway. Heads turned. Phones pivoted. Sophia's smile cracked at the edges. Robert faced Evelyn. What is your name? Evelyn, she said. Voice small. Steady. Evelyn Grace. How far along? 7 months. Dizziness. A little. I'm okay. He pulled a chair to the mic. Sit. She did. The chair was mercy made of wood. The water tasted like rescue. Robert turned to the guests, the couple, the cameras, the ceiling that held so much light. Forgive the pause, he said. Something here matters more than schedule. The room leaned in. And he added, before vows, we should talk about the way we treat the people who hold the room up. If you're feeling this story and want the next part right away, tap like and subscribe now. Drop a quick, I choose kindness, in the comments to push this to more hearts. Silence has a sound. It hums at the edges of chandeliers and breathes along the aisle. It waited with them. Sophia laughed, bright and brittle. Robert, darling, it's my wedding. What could matter more than my vows? The manner of them, he said. Calm. steel wrapped in velvet. He faced Evelyn again. Who asked you to sing? Evelyn's eyes flicked to Sophia, to Michael, to Emma at the back, fingers whitening around a tray. Miss Vale, she said. She asked. Sophia's smile sharpened. She volunteered. Didn't you, dear? Evelyn opened her mouth, closed it. The baby nudged. The room waited on a string pulled tight between truth and fear. Emma stepped forward. The tray rattled once, then stilled. She didn't volunteer, Emma said, voice shaking but clear. She was threatened. With her contract. With the clinic discount. She lifted her phone. I recorded it. I was scared no one would believe us. Would you step into the line of fire for a friend? Or would you hope someone else would go first? John met Emma halfway. He plugged the phone into a tiny cable that lived in his suit for emergencies no one trained for. The speakers let a hallway breath out. Then Sophia's voice, silk carrying knives. You will sing. Your contract. The clinic. No one moved. Some shame is a weather that makes people study the floor. Michael's face drained. He looked at Sophia. He looked at Evelyn. His throat worked. Sophia, tell me you didn't. It's my day, she said. And she sang beautifully. You're welcome. It isn't a gift if you take it by force, Robert said. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Sophia's eyes glittered. Are we doing this here? In front of everyone? You would humiliate me. No, Robert said gently. Humiliation is what you did to her. This is accountability. A silent moment gathered its courage. You could hear the soft tick in the wall clock. You could hear Evelyn's breath find a slower rhythm. Robert faced the couple. Marriage is a promise about how you treat people when no one is filming. Michael, do you understand that? Michael rubbed his temple. I thought it was stress. I didn't want to start a fight. And so you started a wound, Robert said. Small wounds become large ones if we pretend they're not there. He turned to Evelyn. Do you want air? A medic? I want a chair and a glass of water, she said, managing a small smile. You already did that. Then one more thing. He took a step back from the mic as if removing pressure were also a kind of gift. Do you want to sing a second song? By choice. Paid as an artist, not commanded as a servant. Evelyn swallowed. Emma's eyes shone. Yes, Evelyn whispered. By choice. Sophia stiffened. If she sings again, I walk. Robert's eyes didn't flinch. If you walk from kindness, you'll be walking alone. The room made a small sound, like a heart remembering how to beat. Evelyn touched her belly. She nodded to the unseen band at the doors. I know a lullaby, she said. My mother sang it to me. Then let's hear it, Robert said. As a gift we meet with gratitude. Evelyn leaned to the mic. The first note rose like a hand in the dark, and a groomsman in the back shouted, hungry for drama. Tell them who the father is. The shout broke like a dropped glass. The sound of people being people. Curious. Cruel. Afraid to be quiet in a holy moment. Robert lifted a hand. The gesture gentled the air. We are not interrogating a mother at a microphone, he said. Then softer, to Evelyn, you can answer if you want. Or not at all. Evelyn had been dodging storms for 2 years. She was tired of being a small boat. My husband, she said. The word steadied her. Aaron Blake. Line worker. He died in the plant explosion last winter. 2 weeks before we knew about the baby. Her throat tightened. She breathed. That's the father. Silence. The respectful kind. The kind that leaves a chair for grief to sit. Emma stood close enough to reach, close enough not to. John looked away to give privacy and guarded the perimeter like decency had borders worth protecting. Michael's eyes closed. When they opened, something had changed. A fog had burned off, and the view was unflattering but real. Sophia tossed her veil back. Impatient. This is not about her biography. This is about my wedding. It became about something else the moment you made a worker into a prop, Robert said. John cleared his throat. Sir, he said, tone careful. There's more. He held out a folder. Ms. Vale requested a policy change at the clinic last month. It would cancel coverage for temporary staff to reduce waste. That would include Ms. Grace's mother. Sophia snatched the paper, crumpled it, and smiled as if crumpling changed ink. Budgets are real. Weddings are expensive. Someone has to be practical. Practical without mercy is cruelty wearing better shoes, Robert said. The room let out a small breath. Someone's bracelet clicked. Somewhere, a lily released more scent, like it wanted to be useful. Michael took a step forward. Just one. Big enough to be noticed. Sophia, he said. Last week I asked you to cut the fireworks. You said no because the drone shots will eat them alive. But you cut healthcare for the people who clean our floors. Sophia's face hardened. Because views matter. Reputation matters. We matter. And she doesn't. Michael's voice didn't rise. It deepened. Her mother doesn't? My father's name doesn't. Would you end a relationship in a room full of witnesses to protect someone the world will forget by morning? Or would you choose the easy darkness behind a beautiful door? Robert faced the guests. We will not continue as if this is a normal day. We have two choices. Pause for a week and return with apologies and change. Or end this ceremony now and begin something better than what we planned to celebrate. Sophia laughed, bright and sharp. You're not serious. I have never been more. Michael turned the ring in his fingers. The metal left a pale circle on his skin. He looked at the aisle he was supposed to walk and at the woman who was forced to sing for it. He looked at his father. He looked at himself. I can't marry this, he said. A gasp moved through the room like wind through wheat. Sophia went very still. Then she shattered. You are humiliating me. No, Robert said. We are letting truth stand where lies were planning to dance. Sophia's hands trembled. My brand. Brands wash off, Emma whispered. Babies don't. Robert turned back to Evelyn. We will cover your mother's care now and going forward. Your contract will be extended, on your terms. If you wish, we'll record that lullaby. You keep the rights. You keep the name. Evelyn's eyes filled. The baby turned gently, as if choosing to rest. John spoke quietly into his mic. Staff began to usher guests toward seats in a slower, kinder order. Someone dimmed the lights one notch. The room remembered it had a heart. Robert nodded to the piano. Friends, he said, let's make room for something honest. Evelyn stood. She touched Emma's hand. She touched the mic. The first note rose again, and blue flashes bloomed against the windows as two officers stepped through the door. The officers' hats were low. Their hands were easy. Noise complaint from a neighbor, one said, as if apologizing for the uniform between him and the flowers. John met them. 3 quick sentences. A nod. They stepped aside to the hallway, murmuring with the planner who had just learned the difference between schedule and life. The room exhaled. Evelyn stood at the microphone with Robert's chair near her hip and the glass of water catching chandelier light. Her hand covered her belly. When she began, it wasn't a performance. It was a promise. The lullaby floated over linen and pearls and the tired bones of the staff who leaned in the doorways, surprised to be invited into the center just by the way someone sang. A soft clap began in the back. It grew, careful, like people clapping for something fragile they didn't want to break. No phones in the air now. Just hands. Robert stepped onto the little stage and did a quiet, astonishing thing. He knelt and loosened the apron, not cutting a red mark across Evelyn's back. He draped his jacket over her shoulders. He looked up at her like she was the host and he was the guest. "This," he said, still on one knee, "is what matters. People before posts. Care before show." He stood. He faced the room. He did not raise his voice. It rose anyway. "Here's my reaction," he said, and the chandeliers felt like they leaned in. "There will be no reception. Vendors will be paid in full. Staff will go home early with wages doubled. For the next hour, this ballroom is a place for doing good." A current flickered. Heads tilted. Spines straightened. "We are founding the Lullaby Fund," Robert continued. "Prenatal care and emergency support for contract workers in every building I own. I'll seed it with $2 million. Tonight, I'll match whatever you give." Have you ever felt money become lighter because it finally found where it belonged? Michael stepped forward with a face that looked like his own for the first time today. "I'm selling the car collection," he said. "All of it. The proceeds go to the fund. And Evelyn," he swallowed. "I'm sorry. I should have spoken sooner." Evelyn's hand shook around the mic. She sang the last line again, softer, to the child who would not remember this day but would live inside its echo. Sophia stood at the edge of the room like a storm that had run out of rain. She looked very young without her script. She gathered her veil, glanced at the doors, and left. Not a slam. A hush. Emma finally placed a hand on Evelyn's shoulder. "Breathe," she whispered. "We're okay." John cleared his throat because something in his chest had learned a new shape. Robert looked at the staff. "Front rows," he said. "Please. Sit." Chairs scraped in a new kind of music. Maids, florists, porters, cooks took the seats meant for names printed in gold. "Ms. Grace," Robert said, offering a simple folder instead of a stage. "If you want it, a contract under your control. Or no contract, and we'll still help. When your child is born, I'll fund their education, if you let me." Gasps again. Not the gossipy kind. The kind that happens when a room sees a door open toward a better world and realizes it can step through. Evelyn pressed her palm to the folder. "Yes to the clinic. Yes to the fund. I'll think about the rest." A small smile. "And yes to chairs that don't squeak." Laughter moved like breeze. Relief loosened shoulders. People formed a line at a simple wooden box labeled Lullaby Fund in fresh marker. A billionaire's reaction had turned spectacle into purpose. And everyone could touch it. The piano played a gentle coda. Someone in the back, maybe you, wiped a cheek and didn't mind being seen. The lilies smelled like clean beginnings. The chandeliers hummed a little lower, as if they, too, were tired of showing off. What would you have done in that ballroom? Would you have stayed quiet for the show, or stepped forward for the person? Tell me in the comments. When kindness is costly, what does it look like in your world? Extended thinking.